1 count of second-degree assault, and multiple counts of first-degree attempted murder. We will continue to search for Hanel until we confirm that his remains are recovered.
Honolulu Police Chief Susan Ballard, homeowner Lois Kane wanted to evict Jerry Hanel. Angry Democrats in the Senate turning up the heat on GOP Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, waiting for plans on how he's going to run President Trump's impeachment trial.
He wants to rush this thing through so quickly because he's afraid of what the American people might hear. To truncate the amount of time, to try and avoid witnesses and documents, to try and rush this through.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Many Republicans, however, not impressed with the process.
My personal preference, Chuck, would be to see this thing dismissed out of hand because I think it's an illegitimate process in the House. They did not give this president due process. However, what Mitch McConnell has decided to do, I fully support. He has all 53 Republican senators backing him on this, and that is to do this exactly like we did during the Clinton impeachment hearing.
Georgia Senator David Perdue speaking with NBC's Chuck Todd on Meet the Press. A manhunt underway in Texas after 2 people were killed, 5 others hurt following a shooting during a concert inside a club in San Antonio. Police say an argument eventually led to that gunfire. The matchup all set for Super Bowl 54. The San Francisco 49ers winning the NFC title on Sunday. They beat Green Bay 37-20. The Kansas City Chiefs downing the Tennessee Titans for the AFC title final there, 35-24. America's listening to Fox News.
Mescla Chamorro Fusion Bistro in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon is now introducing an at-table all-you-can-eat breakfast menu from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Saturday and 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Sunday. Enjoy some quality time with your friends and family with some of your favorite local cuisine, from their waffle, hotcakes, and French toast station to their eggs and omelet station and a variety of scrumptious desserts. Weekends at Mescla Bistro in the Grand Plaza Hotel just got hotter. New year, new menu. Call 969-2652 for reservations. Some restrictions apply.
Yikes, are those Christmas bills coming in already? Those high-interest credit cards at 16, 18, even 24%? Well, we have a New Year's solution for you. A Bank Pacific personal loan with rates as low as 4.65% to pay off those expensive credit cards. It's easy, it's fast, and it's as low as 4.65% APR.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal credit opportunity lender as low as 4.65%. Conditions apply.
A gun rights rally in Richmond, Virginia, set for Monday, causing some worry.
Violence is the concern, with the event expected to draw a mix of militias, firearms advocates, and white supremacists. The governor, claiming credible threats of violence, declared a temporary state of emergency, banning all weapons and guns from Capitol Square. Online threats of violence, conspiracy theories, and misinformation growing. An annual vigil for victims of gun violence was canceled due to fears of armed insurrectionists or rebellion against authorities. The gun rights organization group for the rally is urging peace. Ann Carrick, Fox News.
Strong earthquake damaging buildings in China's far west Xinjiang region. The magnitude 6.4 quake hitting Sunday night in an area bordering Central Asia where earthquakes experts say occur frequently. A couple together until the end.
From the moment of Jack and Harriet Morrison's first date on Halloween 1955, they remained together. They married, they worked, raised 2 kids and a niece, and traveled everywhere together. When illness became a part of their lives, the couple remained as one. Harriet, who had dementia, broke a hip about a year ago. She moved to a St. Louis, Missouri nursing home. Not long after, Jack fell and broke his neck, and he moved into the home too, his room just a few doors away from Harriet's. Harriet stopped eating and drinking around Christmas time. Soon after, so did Jack. Their niece, Sue, got a call from the nurse one night saying that Harriet was near the end. The couple's 2 beds were moved side by side, and on January 11th, 86-year-old Jack slipped away first. His 83-year-old bride soon followed. The couple died as they had lived the past 65 years together. Karen McHugh, Fox News.
Among the winners at Sunday night's Screen Actors Guild Awards in L.A., Joaquin Phoenix. He grabbed Outstanding Performance by a Male Actor in a Leading Role for his role in The Joker. I'm Paul Stevens, and this is Fox News.
If you've ever struggled for breath, you know what a scary experience it is. Whether you have asthma, emphysema, COPD, lung cancer, or another respiratory illness, the right medical treatment makes all the difference. GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic has the latest technology and respiratory equipment, staffed by world-class pulmonologists. Make an appointment today with GRMC's Pulmonology Clinic and start breathing easier. GRMC, where patients are partners.
We understand what matters to you because at Docomo Pacific, we're a family too. With the Now Family program, mom, dad, and kids stay connected on the latest devices the whole family can enjoy. For just $155 a month, get 3 lines with 30 gigs of 4G LTE data each, and endless use of your favorite apps without affecting your monthly data bucket. Add more, get more, save more. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Talk Tales with Bob Klitzkie is brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
Welcome to Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie, the only show on talk radio where common sense is a lot more common. Phone lines are now open at 888-TALK. That's 888-8255. And now, The Point proudly brings you Tall Tales with Senator Bob Klitzkie.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's how we start the program every day. Constitutional rights, civil rights, etc. are one of the things that we thrive on here. We promote, I hope we protect, we inform, etc. So that's why we always start with one of the items in the Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. Okay, so after that we head straight to Zemi Ikoni. And as you know, that's that portion of the program where we look at the editorials of our 2 daily newspapers, and I evaluate, criticize, check for errors, etc., each of the editorials, and I grade the editorials and give the blue star. I've got my blue pencil right here. I give the coveted blue star to the better of the 2 editorials, which most of the time is not much of a challenge because the Daily News, instead of running local editorials, runs stuff from USA Today or Gannett News Service. Today, instead of running something that has local impact, they've got Paul Brandus, founder and White House bureau chief of West Wing Reports. He's the author of Under This Roof and is a member of USA Today's Board of Contributors. That's about as high as you could get. The USA Today Board of Contributors. Not quite as high as being on the editorial board of the Guam, as you were, Pacific Daily News, that's for sure. However, being on the USA Today Board of Editorial Contributors, you have a better chance of actually seeing your byline in the Pacific Daily News, since we don't run local editorials in the Daily News. Okay, so that's so much for the Daily News. I'm going to go from there to the Post, which ran a real editorial today. And the title of this one is Conflicted Senator Should Have Stayed Out of Legislative Debate. Senator Jose Pito Terlahi has conflicts of interest that he knows should have made him excuse himself from the debate during emergency session on Friday. The debate was on the proposed law that would authorize the recall of indicted Mayor Jesse Mendiola Blas. Instead of excusing himself, Senator Terlahi helped steer the discourse from the recall of an associate, proclaiming his concern over the cost to taxpayers of a recall election. The cost was estimated to be approximately $25,000, more money than what mayors had spent previously on overseas festivals. We'll get to that a little later in the program. Senator Terlahi has multiple conflicts of interest because of his personal and public ties to the indicted mayor. Blas was Terlahi's chief of staff when Terlahi was mayor of Jonia. I suppose it would be fair to say that Blas learned everything that he knows about being a mayor from Terlahi. Not very complimentary for Terlahi. When Terlahi decided to run for the legislature, Blas took over the mayoral duties the former left behind. Senator Terlahi's son, Joey Terlahi, was mentioned in an FBI agent's testimony in federal court last year as an alleged associate of Blas. The Jonia mayor has been in jail awaiting trial on federal bribery and extortion charges for allegedly allowing a drug dealing operation to use cluster mailboxes under the control of the mayor's office. Joey Terlahi resigned from being the deputy director of the Department of Corrections. No, it says deputy director of the Department of Corrections. That's not the job he had. He was the deputy director of corrections. Shortly after Blas was arrested and after his alleged association with the jail mayor surfaced in court. On top of this, Blas, acting from behind bars, had appointed the senator from Jonia last week as one of 10 municipal council members who would run the village while the mayor is unavailable. Now, that's not true. I mean, that's a gross error on the part of the Post, but we'll let that go for a second. After it became clear to Senator Terlahi his name would be made public as an appointee of the mayor on the Municipal Planning Council, the senator recused himself, citing he has a conflict. Wow. You know, that's like the zookeeper walking through the pachyderm section of the zoo and say, look at this animal over here with the big ears in the trunk. That's an elephant. Very good, Mayor Terlahi. There are other conflicts inherent in Senator Terlahi's role as chairman of the legislature's Public Safety Committee. The case against the mayor alleges that there have been times the indicted mayor threatened people who would later turn up as witnesses in the case against him. For the legislative chairman of public safety to remain associated with the indicted mayor is dumbfounding. That's a great word. Let's try that again. For the legislative chairman of the public of safety to remain associated with the indicted mayor is dumbfounding. And Jonia residents have voiced safety concerns they'd like resolved through the recall of the arrested mayor. And I could understand that, because when a motion was made to modify the conditions of Blas's release, Judge Gatewood turned down denied the motion because she found that letting Blas go would put the community in danger. Yeah, I know this moron over here is saying, yeah, I know, but everybody's innocent until proven guilty. How many times do we have to go through and debunk that myth? When an FBI agent says under oath in federal court that these things happen, that's a little bit more than a back fence rumor. And when a federal judge says, no, I'm not letting this guy out on pretrial release because he's dangerous, we come down to the real root question here, and the real question is, what is Mayor Jesse Blas guilty of? He's guilty of not doing his duty as the mayor. I don't think anybody can quibble with that. When will the Democrat Party leadership police its own ranks by keeping Terlahi from staying on as the chair of the legislative oversight of public safety? You want to make a guess on when they'll do that, real Joe Cruz? Never. I would say the 12th. The 12th of never. you Johnny Mathis fans. When will party leaders acknowledge that the senator from their party is the last person you'd want to be taking the lead on all things public safety related? This is a glaring problem and the one that can only be part of the reason public safety might not be that important to current elected officials after all. Words and actions haven't jived. They've been contradictory. Well, there's a lot more to say about this, and I'm going to be saying a lot more of it, but I want to call on a gentleman who attended both this session and the public hearing where Senator Pito Talahi showed his true self. So welcome to Tall Tales this afternoon, Ken. Hello, Ken? No, Ken? I thought he was on the line.
Yeah, he was on the line.
Okay.
Maybe you try to call back. I'll try.
How about now?
Oh, okay. There he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you playing
Yeah, I
Post?
wanted to correct the Post because the Post, Pito stepped down as chairman of the Public Safety Committee, and he cited his conflict of interest. So he knows conflict of interest. He's already used it twice. Once when he turned down his nomination to the Mayor's Planning Council, but earlier when he stepped down as chairman of the Public Safety Committee and turned it over to Talina Nelson.
I remember that. Yeah.
So he knows and that's why I was really confused and concerned when he took the lead in crafting the amendment that basically gutted Bill 259 and substituted a bill that does absolutely nothing to rectify the situation in Jonia, did nothing to protect or create a climate of safety where the residents of Jonia could decide for themselves if they wanted to recall the mayor for not performing his duty or keep him in place. But the residents of Jonia aren't even going to get that option because of the way the legislature sidestepped their responsibility, which was to create a safe environment where the residents of Jonia could make their wishes on that issue known.
Correct, Ken.
And so,
Ken, you were at the public hearing where Mayor Terlahi expressed some views about the matter of the mayor of Jonia, correct?
yes, he actually kind of assaulted me and Mr. Hinton. Started out by demanding if we believe in democracy, and then wanted to know how we could reconcile. He wanted to know how we could believe in democracy and not believe in the innocent until proven guilty concept. And
stop right there. Okay. Democracy means government by the people, correct?
Correct.
And innocent until proven guilty doesn't kick in until the person is in a criminal trial, correct?
Absolutely.
And the least democratic branch of our government is the judiciary. Nobody in the judiciary is elected. So I guess this was the hallmark of Terlahi's questioning, not knowing what he was talking about, correct?
Absolutely. I pointed out to him, we're talking about two different things here. We're talking about a political process, which the recall is. And the question of innocence or guilt is a legal process, which will be taking place in February. We're not here to talk about the legal process. We're here to talk about creating a process where residents of Jonia can determine for themselves who the mayor of their village will be. And as it turns out with this really weird solution that Pito came up with and the other 14 senators blindly signed on to, they're going to have the mayor appoint 10 of his closest associates to pick a candidate that he approves of to rule the village in his absence until he's either released or the elections come. Notice how they cut the residents out of this? The residents have no say whatsoever. It all goes back to the political machine that has been created for Jonia. And why did he not appoint a mayor's planning council? Could it be because he didn't want anybody overseeing what he was doing?
One could draw that conclusion, certainly.
Well, why would he wait until he's been in jail for 4 months before he appoints a planning council?
True enough.
So it goes back to where the senators and the 35th legislature proved that as a body, they are more concerned about the welfare and security and financial security of politically well-connected insiders than they are the safety, health, education, and welfare of the people who put them into their seats.
Any other highlights from his performance at the public hearing, Ken?
Basically, the fact that he personally went after anybody that testified in support of the bill, as opposed to asking intelligent questions and allowing the witnesses to answer the questions. He just flat out attacked, trying to browbeat Mr. Hinton and myself into silence. And during the question and answer period, he sat there and just glared. And if you go back and look at the videos, you can see, you can almost see the veins in his neck throbbing as he's sitting there glaring at us as we're answering the question, the very few questions the other senators posed. So it goes back to what I consider to be a gross, I don't want to say abuse of authority, but I'll say a gross abuse of authority. I mean, we put them into, we elected them to be, the legislature is the people's house. It's where we have the power and of electing who we want to represent us, the people we want to execute to the best of their ability and create laws, policies, and procedures that go to public health, public safety, and public education, which are their primary goals under the Organic Act. You know, nothing in the Organic Act says plastic straws or balloons. Nothing in the Organic Act says leave sharing. Nothing in the Organic Act says they have to send 100 people to FESPAC at taxpayer expense. But the things the Organic Act does charge them with, you know, keeping the public safe, promoting public health, and promoting public education. This 35th legislature has fallen flat on the three mandates they do have in order to pursue the circus that this emergency session turned into.
Any comments about the session itself, Ken?
The session itself was so frustrating because watching them go away from the purpose of the session, which was to create a safe environment where residents could go and vote for a recall or vote for retaining the mayor, to transferring over into, one thing after another. You know, this whole thing about BBMR not showing up but sending an email saying there's no money. And we know there's plenty of money. The legislature controls the purse strings. I can't even count how many times the legislature has gone into other pots of money. You know, like $500,000 a year for the public administration building.
So on that one, then, do we blame the director of the Bureau of Budget Management Research, or do we blame the members of the legislature for being so gullible?
We blame the members of the legislature for being so gullible because they know that there's money out there. I mean, look, they just transferred, what was it, $644,000 from hotel occupancy taxes to various nonprofits that are in favor, or that are curry favor right now with the speaker.
I think that was GVB that did it, but the point is still the same. And then, of course, our governor says she has $14 million to make advanced payments on war claims.
Yeah,
and
that too.
And then easier still, if there is a bill to appropriate $1 million to ABC that's signed into law on day one, and there's only $1 million in the Treasury, and another bill comes along on day two that says to appropriate $1 million to XYZ, the bladder bill and time control. So even if all the money had been appropriated, it wouldn't have stopped the legislature from spending $25,000 on this recall. And again, it's the gullibility that sticks. I don't expect straight answers from BBMR. Why should they change after all these years, right?
Absolutely right. I mean, look at the FESPAC bill, for example. We know that the lieutenant governor was sitting on a $400,000 check. We know that they appropriated $350,000 for FESPAC. There's $50,000 right there. And according to Maria Pangolina, the GEC, if the recall is successful and the mayor is recalled, then there will be a special election. The cost of the two elections together is $47,400.
Yeah.
So there's the money right there, the $50,000 that didn't get spent on FESPAC. So for the legislature, and then the other fictitious is that 240-day rule. We can't do anything because our hands are tied and our feet are tied, and we're blindfolded and in manacles because there's a 240-day rule.
Yeah, and
notwithstanding this law,
right.
The Swiss Army caveat that the legislature regularly uses to break the laws it passes.
Well, again, if the legislature on today said that there shall never be a legislative session on the first Sunday in December, it could meet on the first Sunday in December and say every session of the legislature must start on the first Sunday in December. The legislature is unable to tie itself in a knot so tight that it can't untie it.
Unless it's game rooms, because remember, the game rooms will be allowed to continue to operate until such time as all the debts at Guam Memorial Hospital are paid off.
That's correct, yeah.
And there's nothing we can do about it. We can't stop the game rooms because Guam Memorial still has debt.
That's right.
Another legislative fiction that is costing the residents of Guam millions of dollars a year and creating a deteriorating quality of life for our people.
Well, Ken, I want to thank you for your report on the public hearing. I can't say that what you've told us surprises me very much because there was a news report that came out of that session where Pito Terlahi was quoted as saying, "Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?"
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's pretty apparent where Pito's sympathies lie. But I want to thank you for your report, Ken.
You're welcome.
Talk to you later. Okay, Ken Leon Guerrero, who is always on top of these things, always able to separate the wheat from the chaff, and always diligent. And we owe him a vote of thanks for his perseverance and his willingness to do what perhaps is not the most attractive job on the island, but it's the one that the real Joe Cruz is crowing about all the time. You got that one about active and informed citizenship, real Joe?
Yes, sir.
You want to bring it out?
While Constitution set forth rights and liberties, only the citizens can maintain and guarantee those freedoms. Active and informed citizenship is not just a right, it's a duty.
Now, if there were a picture, that's from Ronald Reagan, right?
Yes, it is.
If there were a picture on that paper that you read, it would be a picture of Ken Leon Guerrero, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Active and informed citizenry. Okay, looks like you opened up the Jimmy line, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Afternoon, Jimmy.
Afternoon, Jimmy. Oh, howdy.
We got two Jimmys today. Oh, we got a whole bunch of Jimmys. We got a conveyor belt of Jimmys. Yeah, well, I guess they're gone.
No, they're still here.
Oh, okay. There's just one Jimmy. One Jimmy stayed behind. Hi, Jimmy.
Okay, full disclosure. I am not a felon on felony release.
You are what?
I am not a felon on felony release.
All right.
I am not campaigning for a place at the public troll on talk radio. And I am not engaged in any passionate sexual relationship with Judge Anita Sokola. I don't care what you hear.
Okay, Jimmy. Thanks for
Anyway, I got some questions.
Thanks for clearing that up for us. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Hey, why did the cannabis smoker cross the road?
Say again?
Why did the cannabis smoker cross the road?
Let me ask for a second opinion here. Real Joe Cruz, why did the cannabis smoker cross the road?
To get to the food.
To get to the food, Jimmy?
Who cares? He forgot before he was even halfway across.
What did he say, Real Joe Cruz?
He forgot.
Oh,
halfway across
the road.
Who cares?
Thank you, Jimmy.
Why did the ice smoker cross the road?
I don't know, Jimmy. Why was that?
He heard there was a vulnerable victim on the other side.
Okay, all right.
Why did the mayor's council cross the road?
I give up, Jimmy. Your questions are too hard for me.
Why did the mayor's council cross the road?
Yeah.
They wanted to distance themselves from the mayors of Jonia and Agate.
Whoa. Good call, Jimmy.
Why did the mayors of Jonia and Agate cross the road?
They wanted to distance themselves from the mayor's council?
Birds of a feather flock together. Why did the people of Jonia cross the road?
Why, Jimmy?
They were running away from collective community shame.
Okay, Jimmy.
Oh, one more.
Okay.
Why did all of our beloved fellow Gomanians cross the road?
I give up, Jimmy.
They were following Robert Underwood in order to find out who they actually were.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
Cocoa Coffee Company is now available at Circle K. Single origin coffee beans carefully sourced and locally roasted to give you the freshest cup of coffee Guam has to offer. Grab a cup that's brewed every 30 minutes or purchase a bag of the locally roasted whole beans. Flavors now serving: light medium roasted Ethiopia and medium dark roasted Jamaican Blue Mountain. Exclusively available at Circle K. With every Cocoa Coffee Company purchase, a portion of the proceeds will go towards the Cocoa Recovery Program.
Now, more Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie. Spitting truth like watermelon seeds at a summer picnic. Call now, 888-TALK, 888-8255.
So here we are, back again, Tall Tales. Jimmy had a nice series of cross-the-road jokes. The last one caused even the host of Tall Tales to chuckle. The question was, why did all the Guamanians cross the road? The answer was they were following Robert Underwood and they wanted to find out who they were. It goes back to Robert's column, which zeroed in on the question of who we are. Okay, I'm going to spend a lot more time here with mayors at Jonia and, of course, Democrats. And to properly set the stage, we have another great poem from the poet laureate, not the poet laureate, but a poet laureate Mina Dos of Tall Tales, Ishmael Velez, who says the Democratic Party of Guam is nervous, as the only serving they do is self-service. Their actions are despicable, and this is a fact. if ugly was a burger, they would be a Big Mac. The speaker doesn't speak. She has lost her appeal and is two fries short of a Happy Meal. To the governor, the people aren't the priority. It doesn't matter who she tries to convince. She's more concerned with arranging her travel for her openly bald prince. The first openly bald. They've taken control of the legislature with numbers in a supermajority, and now the House of the People is run like a college sorority. Did you know there are 14, as you were, 10 females in the legislature? Real joke?
I've heard of it before, sir.
Yeah, for a month after the election, you heard nothing else.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now the House of the People, as you were, the senators are lackluster. Their thought process is askew, making so-called decisions for the people, thinking we'll believe the vomit they spew. Then along comes a congressman who puts people first, but the blood-sucking Democrats just can't quite quench their thirst. We can't allow people to become enlightened. Michael San Nicolas we must destroy. And nominating B.J. Cruz to thwart the congressman appears to be their only ploy. But blinded are the power-hungry, for they cannot see beyond their nose. And come this fall in November, of these bloodsuckers the voters will dispose. Yeah, very well done, Ishmael. Yeah, so here we are. Just, you know, the next item, as you were, the first item on the card, just merges right into, well, the second item on the card just merges right into this whole thing with the mayors. The first item, I'm going to do the first item on the card, then I'm going to come back to the editorial and the card. But I do want to pay a certain amount of tribute to Martin Luther King today. Today is Martin Luther King. It's a government holiday. That's the only way we could recognize greatness on Guam. Give all the employees a day off, right? So, 1968, Martin Luther King made his famous I Have a Dream speech on the Mall in Washington, D.C., the March on Washington. If you haven't read it, it would be a really good idea just to read it, just to see what really great writing looks like. It is some of the most powerful writing I think anyone ever put a pen to. Very persuasive. It's not blank verse, but it reads as well as poetry. Extremely powerful. So first item on the card today is this: Martin Luther King versus the wokesters. Now you know who the wokesters are. You know, I don't want to name them, although if I name them, you would recognize the person I'm talking about. It's the they, them, pronouns crowd. You won't know what sex the baby is until he's 25. I'm going to get married because I'm going to go to the wedding because I've known Herman and Henry since they were girls. This whole outfit, wokesters, postmodern, neo-Marxist, cultural Marxist, critical studies folks that have had such an impact on our society and our government in about the last 10 years. So I'm going to read just a part of Martin Luther King's speech and just ask yourself, how would this go over today? And here it goes. I will read it as responsively as I can, but I obviously won't be able to put it in I won't be able to speak with the same timbre that Martin Luther King used when he delivered it. I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my four little children, will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification, one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join with little white boys and white girls as brothers and sisters. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and every mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope, this is our faith, that I go back to the South with. Yes, with this faith, we will be able to hew out the mountain of despair and hope. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. It's just, it's so moving. But if Martin Luther King were to make that speech today, what would happen? You know, the New York Times and the Washington Post would tear him to pieces. And the race hustlers like the Justice Brothers, Sharpton and Jackson, would call him an Uncle Tom. And all of the wokesters would say, he didn't say a thing about white supremacists. And where does Martin Luther King live? Where does he get off saying all this stuff? Where does Martin Luther King get off talking in terms of the Declaration of Independence and all men being created equal? You know, the wokesters would, if Martin Luther King were to give that speech today, and I'm surprised they're not, well, of course, you know, he's gone, he's dead. He died a martyr's death, and even the wokesters aren't so stupid as to pick on him now. But if he were alive today, that would be exactly what happened, because he's not talking for them. He's talking about a country that started out as an aspirational country. These are the things that we want to live up to. And he's pointing out what it is that we want to live up to. He's asking for God's help, and he's asking for the day when little white boys and little black boys can sit together at the table of brotherhood. A wonderful speech, if only the wokesters would get it out and read it like I just did. That is, if they can even read. That's the first item on the card. Okay, let's go back to this. I wanted to get that out of the way because today is Martin Luther King Day. I wanted to get that out of the way before I go back into this editorial. And the Post hit the nail right smack on the head today. And, of course, they're going to get, the only reason they're going to get a blue star is because I can't give them two. excellent editorial. This is exactly what newspaper editorials are for. To analyze, to know exactly what's going on, and to be, and to call it. When they see something bad, to call it out. This is wrong. This shouldn't have happened. And to hold people accountable, even if the person they're holding accountable is Jose Pito Terlaje. This was quite a performance on the part of Pito Terlaje. And of course, he's rolling in conflicts of interest. The fact, like I pointed out earlier, I don't know, maybe there's some pride of authorship here. Maybe he's saying, I taught that guy, Jose, I taught that guy Blas everything he knows about being a village mayor. I taught him how to sign the mailboxes, all that stuff. Why are they picking on him? He's my boy. Well, wait a minute. My boy is the guy that resigned from the Department of Corrections the day after the FBI agents testified in open court. This, I don't know, for once, even I am at a loss for words to describe the tawdriness of Terlaje's performance. But unfortunately, there's plenty of blame to share here. And I've listed the next item on the card is Pito Terlaje versus Nelson. And Pito Terlaje won. How could you do that, you other 14 people? How could you let him win? Well, wait a minute. You other 13 people, for once, Tina Rose Munya Barnes, the speaker, comes out of this smelling like a rose because she wasn't there. She went off island to a funeral. Part-time legislature, anybody? Anybody interested in a part-time legislature? So Nelson, first of all, Nelson waited too long on this. When Blas' lawyer made a motion to change the conditions of release, and Judge Stidenko denied it and said, no, motion denied, trial starts on the 4th of February, you're going to stay in the pokey until the trial. That would have been the time to come forward with the bill that Nelson introduced, not wait and wait and wait and wait. And, of course, Ken has called it, and I've called it myself. They're afraid of the mayors because they've talked themselves into the proposition that the mayors are so politically powerful that the keys to their own reelection are in the pockets of the mayors. Therefore, if you piss off the mayors, kiss your reelection goodbye. So they're willing to do all kinds of really dumb things. Nelson did something really stupid. You let Pito Terlaje take your bill away from you, Nelson, and then you voted for the bill after it had been hijacked by Pito Terlaje. You got to watch a lot of legislative sessions before you see anything like this happen. And there's plenty of blame to go around. All the rest of you folks that voted for that bill are as culpable as Nelson is. If you call a special session, and the purpose of the special session is to deal with the bill that would provide for the recall of the mayor of Jonia, that's what you're there for. So Pito Terlaje, I don't know if it was the 3-shell game. I don't know if you ever seen the 3-shell game played, Real Joe
Yes,
Cruz?
sir, I have. You put like a bean underneath one of the shells?
Yeah, 3 walnut shells and a little rubber-like pea, and you put that under the shells, and the guy whips them around like that, and if you can guess which shell the pea is under, you get double your money. You bet $1, you get $2 back. And of course, you could never win because the guy who's running the game most of the time, sleight of hand is taking a pea, and the pea isn't under any of the shells. So Pito Terlahi ran the 3-shell game down at the legislature and got everybody, all 14 of them, to vote for his bill that hijacked Nelson's bill. And Nelson voted for it herself. Now, I've explained this before. Okay, we're going to come back. We're going to come back to this right after the big halftime show.
Hi, welcome to this ad for new Subway sliders, starting at $1.99 each. How do you want it?
Cheer squad. Woo! Go Subway sliders, starting at $1.99 each. Woo! Give me a ham and jack slider.
Ham and jack slider.
Give me an Italian spice slider.
Italian spice slider.
What's that spell?
It doesn't really spell anything.
New Subway sliders, starting at $1.99 each. Go sliders!
Subway, make it what you want.
Lolita Kamet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty, a friendly, hardworking, and passionate RE/MAX professional who is committed to helping you make a difference in your life and helping you achieve the American dream of home ownership. She also specializes in commercial leasing, land sales, local residential sales leasing, military, and corporate relocation. So for all your real estate needs, call Lolita Kamet from RE/MAX Diamond Realty at 688-6743. That's 688-6743.
Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie is brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
I jumped the gun. It's not halftime yet. I've still got about 8 minutes between now and halftime, so I'm going to continue to work on the legislature here. Jimmy's back to ride the Ferris wheel again.
Yeah, he wants to get on the ride again.
All right, go for it, Jimmy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're both back.
Anyway, one of it is now. Okay, everyone agrees, everyone understands Gov Guam is corrupt. True or not?
Okay, go ahead.
No question.
Go ahead, yeah.
Is Gov Guam corrupt? It's a yes or no question. Simple.
Well, you're talking about several thousand people. I suspect that there may be a non-corrupt person in there somewhere, Jimmy. Just the law of averages, right?
Yeah, let's just say yes.
All right, just for the purposes of discussion, I'll say yes. Go ahead.
Statistics, lies, and damn lies. Anyway, but that's the problem, corruption. But what is the solution?
I give up, Jimmy.
Well, I thought you knew.
Well, if I did, I wouldn't mention it until just about the end of the program because I want to keep my international radio listening audience in suspense.
Well, everybody's got to do what they got to do.
True enough.
But anyway, the problem is corruption, dirt, things like that. Well, what is the solution?
Asked and answered, Jimmy.
I'm sorry?
Asked and answered.
No, that's not an answer. Or I'm simple-minded. I don't understand.
Okay, you asked me that question before and I answered it, and then you asked again. So get out your Law and Order notebook, Jimmy. If you were watching, Law and Order, you'd see Jack McCoy jump up and say, "Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered." Sustained.
You know what I was reading last night? Biography of Harry S. Truman. The greatest, perhaps the only, United States president that came from Missouri.
We've been lucky in that regard. But go on.
What?
I say we've been lucky in that regard, but go ahead.
Anyway, he had a sign on his desk. The buck stops here.
Yep.
And Guam, Guam, has changed the meaning of the buck stops here. You know, when Harry S. Truman had a sign on his desk, means the responsibility, the accountability stops here. I'm responsible. I'm accountable. But in Guam, the buck stops here means where does the corruption of the money go?
Well, thanks for the history lesson, Jimmy. I'm glad you called in.
On Guam, where does the buck stop?
The buck stops right here at Tall Tales, Jimmy.
Well, at least you're not shining it on.
There you go. I hope you enjoyed your second ride on the Ferris wheel, Jimmy. I got to put some more riders on between now and the halftime, okay?
Okay, sorry to bother you.
All right, thanks, Jimmy. The buck stops here. Harry Truman. Remember it like it was yesterday. Okay, so we're back to Terlahi versus Nelson. So all of the members that were present, Tina Rose Munia Barnes, actually came out of this looking pretty good because she wasn't there. She went off island. But they all voted for this bill. And if you are a member of the legislature, the way you communicate with your constituents, the way you communicate with the people who voted for you is with the bills that you introduce and the votes that you render on bills that other people introduce. And what every single one of you said to your constituents is, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and if I do know what I'm doing, it's wrong. Unless you were in favor of, what we'll call the Pedo Terlahi Catch and Release Bill, you should have voted against it. Nobody voted against it. That means, Talina Nelson, that your bill was not what was demanded in the situation. You thought that when you got a mayor in jail on federal detention, that something must be done, and you thought a recall election was appropriate. But you now have told us that you realize you were wrong. What you should have done was you should have asked Peter Terlahi to co-sponsor a bill that would continue on with what I've labeled as the Government of Guam Job Protection Plan. Now, I haven't seen the bill because the as-passed bill has not been posted anywhere. I haven't been able to get my hands on it. But reading from the description in the newspapers, this is what I think it says. I think it says if there's a temporary vacancy in the office of mayor, like what we got right now, that the mayor's council can choose somebody to be the temporary mayor. The legislature confirms, and that guy serves, they serve until the mayor gets out of jail. I mean, that's the only way this is ever going to happen. So we have to have something in the law that protects mayors who are in jail and can't go to work. That's basically what you're all saying. You know, he's innocent until proven guilty, so we got to be able to protect his job until he gets out of jail. Okay, now it's time for that big halftime show. We're going to come back to this after the halftime show.
The Point is KUSG, Hagåtña, Guam, 93.3 FM and 104.3 HD3.
Still pushing for Hunter. I'm Paul Stevens, Fox News. One of the House impeachment managers getting ready for a Senate trial of President Trump this week, still pushing back on allowing testimony from former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter.
They're asking for Hunter Biden is just more of a smear of Hunter Biden that the president was trying to get the Ukraine to do. But the fact of the matter is, let the Chief Justice rule on the Chief Justice in the first instance rules on evidence. The Senate can overrule him, but no Chief Justice would think of admitting evidence that is not relevant.
New York Congressman Jerry Nadler Sunday on CBS's Face the Nation. A member of the president's legal team addressing the allegations against Mr. Trump.
I think many presidents in the past have made foreign policy decisions to enhance their electoral prospects. And if people think that this president did that, that's a factor that should enter into the decision who to vote for, among many, many other factors.
Harvard Law School Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz on ABC's This Week. Those officers killed in Hawaii on Sunday after responding to a home where a woman was stabbed. 2 of them were dead.
Officers arrived, and the 3 were walking down the home's driveway when the suspect opened fire.
Honolulu Police Chief Susan Ballard.
Jerry Hannell, in his 60s, has been identified as a suspect in the killing of the 2 officers and the stabbing of the female.
Jerry Hannell still missing, with police searching for his remains after that home was set on fire. State officials and hate monitoring groups among those warning about potential violence ahead of a Monday gun rights rally taking place in Virginia. It's expected to draw a mix of militias, firearms advocates, and white supremacists to Richmond. Governor Ralph Northam declaring a temporary state of emergency days ahead of that rally. America's listening to Fox News.
Yikes, are those Christmas bills coming in already? Those high-interest credit cards at 16, 18, even 24%? Well, we have a New Year's solution for you. A Bank Pacific personal loan with rates as low as 4.65% to pay off those expensive credit cards. It's easy, it's fast, and it's as low as 4.65% APR.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal credit opportunity lender as low as 4.65%. Conditions apply.
Mezcla Chamorro Fusion Bistro in the Grand Plaza Hotel in Tumon is stirring up some of your favorite drinks all night long. Come down on Wednesday and Friday nights from 5:30 to 10 p.m. Indulge in some of your favorite local cuisine and pair it with your favorite drink. From our ice-cold beers, our finest selection of wines and liquors, to our top-notch cocktail specials, your friends at Mezcla Bistro Tumon are ready to serve you. Why limit happy to only an hour? The Mezcla family reminds everyone to drink responsibly. See you on Wednesday and Friday night.
One of the nation's biggest cities facing potential trouble from immigrations and customs enforcement.
The city of New York is now liable for federal fines if they don't hand over the information that ICE is seeking. It also comes after ICE subpoenaed the Denver justice system over growing frustrations with sanctuary city policies. ICE demanded information from New York officials on 4 aliens, including 3 who were released from prison following assault, rape, and drug charges. The 4th man is still behind bars, charged with sexually abusing and murdering a 92-year-old woman from Queens. ICE also shared a list of fugitives who were released from prison into local communities after local officials refused ICE detainers, and a second list shows aliens who are currently in custody on charges ranging from murder to child rape.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich. No word yet on whether New York officials will comply with that federal request. A packed footbridge on Indonesia's Sumatra Island broke, sending several people into the river below where they drowned. At least 9 bodies pulled from the water so far. Rescuers still looking, they say, for a 14-year-old boy. About 20 people survived. If you like outdoor adventures, it pays to have a friend standing by.
Dave Christensen is a pretty lucky guy. The 55-year-old Indiana man was rescued in Yellowstone National Park after he rappelled down a deep canyon, but was unable to climb back out after he left his rope to retrieve a backpack he dropped. But he had a friend who was communicating with him by radio from the top, who then called for help after about 2 hours. It took about 4 hours to raise both him and a rescuer in blowing snow and freezing temperatures. Christensen was not injured, but he didn't get away completely unscathed. He was cited for disorderly conduct and for illegally going off trail. Salchi and Grasso, Fox News.
Japan's prime minister promising to bolster his country's role, helping the U.S. defend outer space and cyberspace as well. I'm Paul Stevens, and this is Fox News.
Go green, go hybrid. Go to Nanbo Insurance, and your next power bill is on us. Insure your hybrid car at Nanbo and get up to $350 towards your next power bill. That's instant savings for keeping our island clean and green. Nanbo has been providing Guam with over 50 years of reliable and affordable auto insurance. At Nanbo, it pays to go green. Terms and conditions apply. Visit nanbo.com or call 477-9754 for details.
Want to grow your business? Start a new venture? Or stay ahead of the competition? You can. With Docomo Pacific Smart Business Solutions tailored to your specific needs and ambitions, you can do it all. Partner with a network with best-in-class network coverage, state-of-the-art communication platforms, and a team dedicated to providing you with premium support. Call 688-2677 to start your journey to success today. Docomo Pacific Business, delivering your future today.
Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie is brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
I know everybody enjoyed that big halftime show we have every afternoon at 1700. We'll be doing it again tomorrow. Even though today is a holiday, we still had the big halftime show. So we're going to go back to Jonia and a couple of real characters. Pito Terlahi, the former mayor of Jonia, and Jesse Bloss, the current mayor of Jonia. Jesse learned everything he knew about being mayor from Pito when he was Pito's special assistant. So we're going to go back there. But in order to set the tone, I've got something from the poet laureate of Tall Tales, Andrew. And here's what Andrew says. There once was a quaint southern mayor who said, this whole doggone thing isn't fair. His poll numbers stink as he sits in the clink. I've got friends in high places. Beware. Which is true. You know, with the testimony that was delivered before the district court by an FBI agent under oath, Jesse has bragged about having connections with court marshals at the Superior Court, with cops, etc. He doesn't sound like a man to be trifled with, because the implicit message is, hey, I got friends. So one of his friends, of course, is Jose Pito Terlahi, who has mounted a stellar defense for Mayor Bloss and has apparently enlisted him in the GovGuam Job Protection Program, which I've described on other occasions. We had two workers in the food stamp program at Public Health and Social Services who were indicted about 2 years ago and were able to hang on to their jobs until they finally pled guilty. And then the director says, well, now that they've pled guilty, I may fire them. We had the Ovida Nauta, who stole from the police department, attempt to pay back for her theft with a check that bounced, was indicted, went to the Department of Corrections, and when she pled, nothing happened to her at all when she pled guilty to serious charges. So nothing happened to her when she committed the crime. Nothing happened to her when she pled guilty to the crime, except that the director of corrections at the time praised her for being a really good worker. Then we had the 2 sex offenders at the Guam National Guard, about whom Major, what is her first name? I can't remember. It's Bloss also. Major Bloss, the spokesman for the Guard, said, well, no, they're on the job. We believe in innocent until proven guilty. It's in our Constitution. And, of course, the words innocent and guilty are not in the Constitution. And the fact that someone has been indicted for a serious crime does not serve as a job protection program for you, except apparently in the government of Guam. Because that's where we are now with Mayor Jesse Bloss, with Pito Terlahi hijacking, taking Talina Nelson's bill from her. I have this mental image of a baby with some candy, and Pito Terlahi comes along and takes the candy away from the baby and converts her bill into something opposite of what it started out to be. It's job protection for Jesse Bloss, because it would allow the mayor's council, which was appointed by Jesse Bloss from inside the walls of the Department of Corrections, to choose an acting mayor until Jesse Bloss gets out. That acting, judging from some of the charges against Jesse Bloss, that could be like a 10-year appointment. But I think probably the appointment would only last to the end of Bloss's term. So, you know, just completely turned Nelson's whole idea inside out, and she let it happen. There are other really interesting things. Counsel for the legislature said, hey, guys, you may have a problem with that bill because it may violate the Organic Act. I had that paper here somewhere. Yeah. I'm just digging through these papers here to see if I can find that paper, an article that ran in PNC News just very late today. So I just had it here a minute ago. Anyhow, the Legislative Council said the Organic Act allows or requires the government to make appointments in the executive branch. And the mayor's council is not the governor. So it may very well be that if there is to be an appointment in the executive branch, it has to be the governor. I'll study that up a little bit, and I'll spend a little more time on that tomorrow. I don't think, and by the way, this opinion by council was done at 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. So all of the members that voted for Pito's bill had it in their hot little hands, apparently ignored it. And ironically, that would have been the cover you were looking for, Talina. You could have said, I don't think we should go forward with Pito's bill as long as there are Organic Act questions about it. But instead, you watched him take your bill, turn it inside out, and then you voted for it. And everybody else who was there voted for it, too. What a performance. So, so much for, see, Demi Cotney, an appointment. Oh, yeah, here it is. I have it right in front of me. There may be a problem with the emergency legislation passed by the legislature over the weekend. Legislative Legal Counsel Anna Maria Wanpat-Bora sent a memo to senators Saturday after they unanimously passed Bill 259, which, as amended, would allow the newly appointed Jonia Municipal Council to name an acting mayor in the village without the need for a recall election subject to legislative approval. However, in her memo, Bora raised concern about whether the bill's grant of appointment authority to the Planning Council deprives the governor of her appointment authority in violation of the Organic Act. And the whole memo is printed out here. I got this off PNC News. Describes a couple of cases. So I will give the tall tales ruling on this tomorrow. Right now, all I'm going to do is just mention it and mention that if we had a part-time legislature, we wouldn't be doing things like this. We wouldn't be making up important stuff like this on the spur of the moment and doing floor amendments and then having council later on saying, hey, you guys, that bill you passed, maybe not organic. But this whole performance on this Marijigo thing is, I couldn't make an argument as poignant in favor of a part-time legislature than this legislature itself has made because of the way they treated the whole matter of the mayor of Jonia, who is AWOL. He's absent without leave. Now, here's another really interesting wrinkle, and that is that one of the senators, I think it was Talina, no, it wasn't. It was somebody else. I don't remember which one of the senators it was, asked the Attorney General, can the mayor of Jonia appoint a mayor's council when he's in jail? And this is the classic case of one of those classic cases of sometimes it's better not to know, because the Attorney General may come back and say yes. And if that's the case, then he has actually performed a function of his office from inside the jail. And he can make a very good argument that I didn't need to take leave. I could stay on the payroll. Yeah, because I could sign things. I signed the paper appointing these mayors. I can carry on. No problem. So in addition to everything else, we might wind up paying the guy for sitting in jail. Now, I am going to rule on that. And this is how my ruling would go. Can a mayor carry on his duties from inside the jail? And my answer would be no. And the reason that it would be no is because the activities of inmates in pretrial detention are governed by corrections officials. Corrections officials determine whether or not you're going to have visitors, whether, basically determine your entire existence, whether or not you're going to be able to make phone calls, etc. So the corrections officials could say, no, you're not going to be, we will not allow you to do anything in pretrial detention except be in pretrial detention. And we're not going to allow you to be the mayor. Now, they might not do that, but as a matter of law, a public official has to be able to have an unfettered access to his duties, not even the possibility that some other official could come along and preempt him from doing his job. So I would say, no, he can't. Any attempted doing business from inside the jail would be at least voidable, if not void ab initio. And one of our Facebook posters said, yeah, Talina asked that question. So you may have thrown the mayor in the briar patch there, Talina, because the Attorney General may come back and say there's no impediment at all for him carrying out his duties. I think the Attorney General would be wrong, but even I would admit that that's a close question, and it depends on the Attorney General going along with the argument that since corrections officials control all the activities of inmates, the mayor would not be a free agent as it came to conducting his duties as the mayor. Therefore, he cannot conduct himself as the mayor inside the prison, and anything that he did would be at least voidable, if not void. So, well, but why are we wondering these things? When the guy is in jail and we keep trotting out this, well, he's innocent until proven guilty, we know for sure what he's guilty of. He's guilty of not coming to work. And one of my posters here said, what was it? I think it was Nate horning in. Yeah. Nate horned in and said, if I don't show up for my job for 3 days, I'm fired. It doesn't matter if I'm on vacation or in jail. I'm not doing my job. That's all. That's in the question. Okay, Jimmy's back again? No. Okay, Jimmy decided he didn't want to ride again. All right. Well, we'll somehow stumble along without him. Okay, I got another caller here. Another Joe. Okay. This is not you, real Joe Cruz. This is another Joe. Good afternoon, another Joe.
Thank you, Bob. So the question, one of the questions is the AG running for re-election this year, or is it the next election?
No, he's not up this time. He's got almost 3 years to go.
Oh, good for him. So we might have a short memory.
Could be.
Whatever it's occurring, he's got enough time to put Band-Aid, so to speak, and do a good PR tour.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the reasons I wanted to call was, as you know, we have a new archbishop, and this Sunday they finalized his authority in this archdiocese. But I was wondering, there, Bob, did you notice it was televised? Did you notice any of our elected officials getting any FaceTime on the TV? Or I didn't notice anyone. Is it my imagination, or did I miss one?
I didn't watch it on TV, but that is kind of surprising. One would think that they know that it's televised. You think that they would be over there kind of trying to hog the camera, wouldn't you?
Because I think Guam is like, what, 90%, in the 90s, the Christian identity, and maybe 80% Catholic, possibly.
That's what we say, yeah. Uh-huh.
So it's just surprising. I didn't notice any of the senators, and I was wondering if there's if there was a coincidence, some coincidence. But I did notice today the governor was at the shopping center promoting, I guess, I don't know, public service or environmental or AmeriCorps issues.
Bank of Guam, maybe? No,
Sorry?
she wasn't at the shopping center promoting the Bank of Guam, was she?
No. But yeah, both the governor and lieutenant governor were there. Even Senator Castro. But anyway, I was curious why I didn't notice any of the elected officials at the how do you pronounce it, Pallium?
Pallium, yeah.
For the new archbishop.
Yeah.
So hey, thanks for your time there, Uncle Bob, and let's see if anyone else has any new insight. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
So it's always a pleasure to talk to a Joe, especially another Joe. So thanks for calling. Okay, Jimmy is back, isn't he, for his third ride? Should we let him get on the Ferris wheel 3 times in one day?
Yeah, it's a holiday. Might as well.
All right. Okay, Jimmy, you're on the Ferris wheel again. Okay. Jimmy, we can't seat all of you guys on the Ferris wheel. You can only have one seat.
Only one seat.
Yeah.
Okay. You hear that joke? Apple?
No, I didn't hear that joke. It better be good, Jimmy.
Yeah. He chased the altar boy all around the ass, and he caught him by the rectum. Anyway, another one for another joke. This is especially for what's that guy name? Is he Cross or is he Cruz? Anyway, he told a joke about this Asian person. They spun him around. He got reoriented. But he didn't tell what happened after that. After that, he went outside, got in his yellow Mustang convertible, and drove right in the back of the car in front of him. And they said, "What happened?" He said, "Oh, it must have been an accident." Okay, no more.
All right, Jimmy, thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed your 3 trips on the Ferris wheel today. I think we're going to have to close the Ferris wheel down.
Okay.
Okay, Jimmy. All right, so where was I before we were riding on the Ferris wheel with Jimmy there? I was talking about, the legislature and an incredibly bad performance by everyone involved at the legislature, allowing Pito Terlaje to hijack that bill. So, Real Joe Cruz, there's an old saying, I think Ronald Reagan probably gets credit for it. It goes like this: if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the legislature has rewritten that. If we don't want to fix it, it ain't broke.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, if we don't want to fix it. And obviously, they don't want to fix it. So, you call the plumber and say, my hot water doesn't work. And the plumber says, okay, well, let me see what I can do about that. And he comes out to your house and changes the light bulb. That's kind of what the legislature did here. We got a real problem with no mayor in Jonia. And the way to solve the problem is to recall this one and elect a new one. But instead of doing that, what they did was provide the one that's in jail some job protection, so that the mayor's council that he chose himself, 3 years too late, chose himself from inside the jail, will choose his acting replacement until he gets out of jail. That's assuming he's going to get out of jail. And I think you're going to have some pretty long odds to get anybody to put any chips on that bet. So a really, really bad performance on behalf of Senator Nelson, joined by all the rest of the senators in attendance, and by Tina Rose Munya Barnes, who wasn't even concerned enough to be there because she had to go off island. Okay, so let's stick with mayors for a little while longer here, and this would be a good time for me to mention the Daryl Taggarty proposition. Let's see, Jesse the Marine. Okay. Good afternoon, Jesse the Marine.
Hey, Bob, I got 2 questions, but before I go to my 2 questions, I would assume that you were down there at 2 o'clock, down at the cathedral. Am I right?
I wasn't at the cathedral for the Pallium Mass. I was there for the 2 masses by Bishop Schneider.
Oh, okay. Because I was figuring you've been down there someplace because, you spend a lot of your weekends down there, with your wife and your friends that are very truly die hard.
True enough.
It pays.
Well, I'll tell you what, 54 Sundays we were down at the cathedral at 9:30 in the morning with picket signs, if that's what you're referring to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good work, guys. The 2 questions I want to ask you is, one, when people look at my truck, okay, wherever I go, they'll look at it, they'll say, what is Semper Fi? I said, no, it's not Semper Fi, it's Semper Fi. And he says, what is Semper Fi? I said, it came from a Latin word, always faithful.
Right.
Like the Marine Corps globe and anchor, you see the eagle biting on that the strip of lace that says Semper Fidelis.
Right.
But some of us Marines like to cut it short, we tend to consider to simplify.
True enough.
Am I right?
You're right as rain, Jesse. You are right.
Okay. The other thing I want to ask, and sometimes when I hear things on the radio, like 57, or the station, sometimes, when it's too good to be true, it must be too good to be true. And my question is it true that the Marines that are disabled now, or veterans that are disabled, can have access to the commissary or getting gas?
That's
even
true,
if they're
Jesse.
not 100%?
That's right. That's true, Jesse. Anybody with a service-connected disability is eligible now.
Oh, wow. So it must be true.
It is true.
Okay, well, because that gas outside is killing me. If anything, you're right, what is the gas? But, okay, that's all I want to ask, and good show. And Semper Fi.
Okay, Semper Fi, Jesse. It's always good to talk to you.
Okay, adios.
So long. Got another call coming up here. Just wait for a second for the Real Joe Cruz to put it on. I guess we'll go to the seventh inning stretch, and then I'll come back and I got a couple callers here. We'll take you right after the seventh inning stretch, callers.
Family Finance has been serving the people of Guam since 1959, and they'll continue to be there for you in the years to come. Whether you're looking to get a personal loan for that summer vacation or paying off those long overdue bills, Family Finance has got you covered. Apply for a personal loan from $1,000 up to $3,600 by calling Family Finance in Agutya at 475-4545, Upper Tumon at 647-5626, or in Dededo, 633-4473. Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training.
Well, we're back on the topic of productivity, and I've got 4 ideas that most great achievers implement to get ahead. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, in addition to productivity, we'll add 2 words you can use right away for networking and expanding conversations.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point at guamtraining.com. Brought to you by Guahan Insurance Services and First Hawaiian Bank on 93.3 The Point.
Tall Tales with Bob Klitzkie is brought to you by Mezcla. Mezcla Restaurant in Hagåtña is closed for improvements and will reopen on the 27th of January. You can still get all your favorites at Mezcla Bistro in Tumon on the first floor of the Grand Plaza Hotel. Favorites like certified Angus beef pot roast tacos, fork tender Chamorro-style beef pot roast sautéed with onions and doni, stuffed into corn tortillas and topped with fresh onions and cilantro, served with a spicy roasted chili salsa for $16.95. Visit Mezcla in Tumon at the Grand Plaza Hotel, and for reservations, please call 969-2652.
Seventh inning stretch, center field bleachers, Wrigley Field, Chicago. Real Joe Cruz, you make that meal at Mezcla sound so good.
Oh, yeah, we should try it, but not we. I mean me and my people.
Not me, though. Huh? Hame, not Hita, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that's kind of the way things work, isn't it? You guys know who you are. I don't know who I am, so
True, sir.
That's the difference, yeah. But I was thinking, it sounds so good. I was wondering if Mezcla maybe could open a concession stand out in the center field bleachers at Wrigley Field.
That would be sweet.
Wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, then every day at the seventh inning stretch, I could chow down on some of that really good Mezcla chow.
Yes, sir. Sounds
Yeah.
great.
I don't know if the cooking is so good or it's just the Real Joe Cruz's elocution.
I'm sure it's good, sir.
It's good, huh? You couldn't get that cranked up about just a regular
Yeah.
cheeseburger, could you, Real Joe Cruz?
No, sir.
All right, just got to make sure I understand. Okay, let's see. I think I got Fred on the line, right?
Yeah, I think it's Fred, but my hearing's really bad, so it might not be a Fred, but
It might not be. And you got another phone ringing there too, Real Joe Cruz. Good afternoon, Fred. Hello, Fred.
Fred? Did you say Fred?
I said Fred, yeah.
Oh, this is Travis.
This is Travis? Okay.
Yeah, this is Bob.
Yeah, this is Bob. Even though you're not Fred, let's talk, Travis.
Hey, what's going on? So we're talking about mayors.
We are talking about mayors.
Well, I'm calling from Delaware, and I mean we got this mayor and he hates me because I'm black.
Oh, in Delaware, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's really unfortunate that your mayor hates you because you're black, Fred. I wish there was something I could do about that.
I mean, I kind of just want to talk about it. What's your feelings about that?
Well, I don't think mayors should be hating anybody. That's not what we hire mayors for. And we know that we're not supposed to hate people because they're black or white or whatever, right? I found in my 81 years that there are usually sufficient reasons to hate people without going to their race or color or something like that.
His name's Paul. His name's Paul, and he wrote me on Facebook and told me that he didn't want me supporting him anymore because I'm black.
Wow. Well, let's hope that that comes back to bite him at election time, Fred.
Well, we need you. Well, are you going to run for mayor, Bob?
No, I'm not going to run for mayor. I ran for senator a couple of times. It's been a while back, but I did it. But I'm not going to run for mayor.
Oh, you're not going to do it again?
No, I'm not.
You would have my vote, Bob. You would have my vote.
I appreciate that. What city in Delaware are you living in, Fred?
What city in Delaware? I'm sorry, it's hard to hear.
Yeah, what city in Delaware are you living in?
Davenport, Delaware.
Davenport, Delaware. Did they move it from Iowa to Delaware?
No. I've heard about that Davenport too. It was smaller Davenport.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess.
And you know what's weird? You know what's weird is the mayor. He told me I couldn't vote for him because I was black, right? So then I told him I was Mexican, and I was just like, all right, well, fuck it, white power.
Hey, I gotta say goodbye, Fred. We got FCC requirements here. Sorry. It's got to be whatever you say has got to be broadcast.
I felt
quality.
that one coming.
Yeah.
So I had my finger on the button.
Yeah, the ever alert Real Joe Cruz.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Not easy to be the Real Joe Cruz, is it, Real Joe Cruz?
No, sir. Tell.
Okay, we got another one coming in here. Another phone call here. I'm just about to start the next item on the card, which is Kevin Suswico, Rudy Paco, and Jesse Bloss and Rudy Matanani versus the mayors. Well, let's see. I got Jack and Frenchie on the line. Who called first? Jack. All right. Afternoon, Jack.
Oh, good afternoon there, Bob. I'm sorry about that last caller.
Well, it's
Paul there.
Yeah.
You should know, here in Guam, we follow the MLK rule, and that when it comes to mayors, we judge our mayors by the color of their skin and not the content of their mailboxes. So that's why Mayor Berlocky's still mayor, I guess.
If you were ran for mayor, Jack, that'd make a great campaign speech.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here, and I was reflecting. I remember when John Anderson, I asked him this question many moons ago. He was there in D.C., but unfortunately, I guess he was too far away from recognizing or being able to hear Dr. King give a speech, but he was there, and yeah, he just reflected on what it was like back in that day, and so here we are, many moons later, and you know, his words are still ringing to us, and those who have reached the dreams. There's so many people, and so many people living the dream now, and we understand that there's still some of us in our society that need our help, and I think it's a proper characterizations that he did about the content of their character, and I think that's what's missing today.
Like down into legislature, maybe, Jack.
That's especially true. I don't know what content they have, but I very much believe it's not safe for consumption. And as far as Mayor Terlahi being in prison there and being allowed to do his office duties, maybe the prison officials list that as under conjugal visits or something. As with all political activities, seems nowadays it just pales into comparison as what happened, you know, back during those days of great civil rights movements, and I don't know. It's just kind of weird now today how things have changed, and it's not for the better. But this is a great day, Martin Luther King's Day. We used to call it back, was it President's Day? Well, we still have President's Days, right?
Yeah, this is a new holiday, yeah.
This is just a new holiday for MLK, but yeah, just reflecting. We've come a long way, still have a long way to go, but it started out with Abraham Lincoln, not with MLK. You know, when Abraham Lincoln did his Gettysburg Address, that's where it started out. You know, we're held to the presuppositions about things, and we need to live up to those ideas, and that's what we need to do. But anyways, I just wanted to call, and I want to apologize for what Paul did, and this is why we can't have nice things on terrestrial radio. But I hope you're listening, Paul, and I wish you a happy life, and I hope that you find your moral compass somewhere. But that's all I have to say about that, and I apologize for Paul.
His name is Fred, but thanks a lot for calling, Jack. It's always good to talk to you. Yeah, so Jack calls to tell us that Fred doesn't know jack about talking on the phone on the radio, right? But that could have been a Delaware number, right?
Yeah, it was a long distance number. It's your fault, sir, for telling them how to do the country code and all that stuff.
I suppose I should screen them. You know, if you're going to say bad words on the radio.
We are international.
Yeah, that's very true. That's the risk we take, isn't it? Good afternoon, Frenchie.
Good afternoon, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, it looks like the show was jackknife for a while. Yeah. If anything from Delaware usually is not very good.
I'm just biding my time to find something.
You're biding your time.
I'm biding my time to find something good coming from Delaware, and I got to wait a while.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for the joke. So yeah, I'm still writing about the pedo sleight of hand from last weekend. You know, I mean, number one, I'm still in awe. Somebody can still want to be called pedo after the sexual scandals we had on the island. That's the last thing I would like to take as a nickname. But obviously, this should have been kind of a red flag for the voters when about the character of that individual. I mean, I call him Mr. Conflict of Interest. You know, he there is not one conflict he doesn't have a vested interest in on this island. This guy seems like he's tied up to almost every scandal that's coming up or that are about to come up.
He's given a new meaning. He's given a new meaning to the term multitasking, Frenchie.
Yeah. I'm afraid that you are very much on target right there. Yeah. He's amazing. But you know, what was kind of upsetting was, you know, as you pointed out, all the senators voted for this thing. And I'm not so upset with the Democrats because, you know, to me, the Democrats have always been the party of slavery, the party of apartheid, Jim Crow, the poll tax, racial division, identity politics, the party of abortion and euthanasia. So I never trusted them. So I'm not surprised when they do something bad because it's almost in their DNA, you know.
True enough.
D standing for Democrat. But, you know, they even, today we're celebrating Martin Luther King. You know, don't forget that one of the icons of the Democrat, JFK, and then RFK, both spied on Martin Luther King. You know, they sent the FBI after him. They had, you know, it's not new that Democrats spy on their political opponents. I mean, Obama did it with Trump. The Kennedys did it with all kind of other people. I'm not even going to go into what's his name, the former VP of Kennedy, Johnson, did, because you know, the list would be endless and the show wouldn't last nothing long. But what I'm surprised really is the total lack of reaction from the Republicans. I mean, the Republicans have been totally neutered on this thing. It's just amazing. They had great opportunities to be fighting corruption, or at least the appearance of corruption. They had a great opportunity. Nobody seized it.
Yep.
All the work that Morgan and Telo Taitagwe have been trying to do more or less well over the past few months has been totally erased by this vote. They are like, and the Republican Party and the organizers have nowhere to be seen.
True enough. Yeah.
You know, they are nowhere to be seen. They are not active. They don't do anything. And they should have been, you are in the opposition, for crying out loud, opposed. They don't oppose. They just roll over and let somebody comes and scratch their belly. That's not what an opposition party is supposed to do. So, you know, this coming election in this fall, it's going to be quite interesting what kind of candidates they're going to run in. You know, if you add to that, what's your competing channel, K57, and in the morning, the one that's putting Underwood on Monday evening now, you know, they're totally bought off by the Democrats. So you have very little voice. Now they had that great opportunity to say, no, we're not going to get along with this. This is not the right way to do it. We're fighting corruption. We're fighting crime. We should not condone those things, and we should not condone officials abusing their office. Where have they been? There's nobody to be seen. Moylan is attacking.
Out to lunch, Frenchie. They're out to lunch on a permanent banquet circuit.
Jesus Christ! I mean, Moylan is attacking Lulian Guerrero on her plan to fight crime, which he should, because it's an empty shell. But they are missing opportunities. I cannot believe they didn't see that one coming. It's just amazing. And to let pedo run the show, it's disgraceful. It's totally disgraceful.
Yes, it is, Frenchie. You're absolutely right. I agree with everything you say.
Yeah. It's terrible. We keep agreeing.
Thanks a lot for calling, Frenchie.
All right. You take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so let's see. Let me see if I can lay this out for you. On Friday, Acting Speaker Pedo Terlahi, right, took control of the legislature and determined that a bill introduced by Talina Nelson was so deficient that it had to be gutted right there in public and turned into something that it wasn't. So Acting Speaker Peto Terlahi, I suppose, had the chameleon approach to legislation, that if it looked like it was red and you placed it on a brown piece of paper, the bill would turn brown. So it looked like, it started out looking like something dealing with a recall, but wound up being something totally different. Okay, I'm going to come back to Kevin Susuico, Rudy Paco, Jesse Blas, and Rudy Montanani versus the mayors.
Rent, lease. What does Horizon do for you? Here's a clue. Advertising, marketing, screening, inspecting, instructing, leasing and signing, collecting and complying, inquiring and assessing, coordinating, repairing, renewing, enforcing, evicting, moving, cleaning, rekeying, communicating. Do it yourself and you'll find it taxing. We work hard to keep the vacancies low, so at the end of the month, you collect the dough. Proven and trusted. Horizon Properties. We do it all. 777-7792.
People come to Chili's for a million reasons. For happy hour, date night, birthdays, or just because it's Tuesday. But if you ask us what brings people into our restaurants time and time again, is that Chili's moment. You know the one. When you eat so much you want to fall asleep at the table, or when you meet up with good friends and it turns into a party. At Chili's, moments like these matter, and we want to make more of them. So there may be a million reasons to Chili's, but all you really need is one. Chili's, savor the moment in our new location in the Tumon Sands Plaza, 2nd floor.
Talk Tells with Bob Klitzkie is brought to you by Bank Pacific, banking on the Pacific for 65 years.
And here we are, Churchill Downs, Louisville, Kentucky. The home stretch. That means I got about 8 more minutes to wrap up another exciting, interesting, educational episode of Tall Tales. And I've got before me here an item on the card: Kevin Susuico, Rudy Paco, Jesse Blas, Rudy Montanani versus the mayors. And this kind of harkens back to the Darrell Taggarty proposition, which is we should look on the matter that or on the situation in Jonia as an interesting test. We don't have a mayor. We can find out now, do we really need one? And according to our speaker, Tina Rose Munya Barnes, who said that she had reached out. What a nice mental image.
With tears in her eyes?
Yes, with tears in her eyes, she reached out to the people of Jonia, and everything was fine. And Tello Taitigui elicited testimony from the chief of police that there wasn't an increase in crime. So everything seems to be going all right in Jonia. Maybe we don't even need a mayor. I think it costs us about $8 million a year for the mayors, and I have yet to see how I benefit from having a mayor in my village. A couple mayors, a mayor before this one, turned what had been a haul road to allow trucks to bring construction materials into a new building site into a permanent highway, which totally changed the character of where I lived. That was his major contribution, which he's proud of. And the current mayor, the only official thing that he's done to distinguish himself is he was the one to make the motion at the mayor's council to raise the salary of Angel Sablon to $98,000. That was the high point of his career. Now he is joining these other 4 mayors, and the reason that I put these 4 together versus the mayors is that they are all a good argument as to why we don't need mayors. I'm going to start out at the back with Rudy Montanani. This happened within the first year after he was elected. And I'm looking at some papers, travel request and authorizations. I'm looking at a travel request for Rudy Montanani to attend the first Goodwill Friendship game to be held in Taytay, Rizal in the Philippines, scheduled from January 16 to 18. and the executive director, Angel R. Sablon, who will be joining me at this prestigious ceremony between our two sister cities, Guam, Azuarjigo, and Tai Tai. Yeah, this is a really prestigious event.
Another sister city?
Yeah.
We're related.
Yeah, I don't... Can we say that they're sister cities? I don't
Oh, yeah. That's a problem, sir.
That is a problem. There are two cities that we refer to as them, right? So this is what it cost you, Real Joe Cruz, to send Rudy Matanani to this prestigious event. It cost you $469.39 for his plane ticket, and his per diem at $347.10 a day. That's more than you make as a producer of Tall Tales.
Wow, that's more than I make in a year.
$347 a day per diem for 4 days came out to $1,388.40.
Money well spent, sir.
Yeah, wow. I mean, we're still better. All of these ties with Tai Tai, priceless. And then there's another one here for Angel R. Sablon. The amounts are not quite the same because Angel R. Sablon's per diem is a little bit less. His per diem is only $333.75 a day, whereas Rudy's per diem is $347.10. So we're getting a really good deal on Angels. We're saving about $14 a day on Angels per diem.
Well, you know, he's frugal.
Yeah, it's very, very frugal. And I remember when this happened, and the explanation was, I did a FOIA on this. That's why I've got all this stuff. And Rudy's argument was that he needed someone to staff him. Yeah, someone to staff him.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know, kind of like an important politician has a body man, you know, open the doors, carry your suitcase, make phone calls for you, introduce you to high muckety-mucks. So Angel R. Sablon was staffing Rudy on this outfit that cost us about $3,600. But we're still reaping the benefits because of our close relationship with the people in Tai Tai Rizal, right?
If they're happy, it's all worth it.
It is. It is indeed. Yeah. So we don't need this. You know, if this is what mayors do, let's put ourselves out of our misery and do away with the office of mayor. But unfortunately, this is not a single example. In today's paper, there was an article about Kevin Suswiko. You know, Kevin Suswiko, yeah, the guy who made such a coup at the port, you know, who walked away with several $100,000 because he got fired for the job that he was never qualified for. Here we go. Mayor Kevin Suswiko and four of his office staff members. He couldn't be staffed by just one person. But maybe the difference is that Rudy was staffed by the Angel Sablon. And if it's not him, then it takes 4 people to staff.
He counts for 4 people, Angel does.
Exactly, yeah. We really made out on that. He could do with the work of 4 at 14.
That's why he makes the big bucks, sir.
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably why Rudy Montanani made that motion. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. And this is true now. The name of the program is Tall Tales. But all of this stuff I'm telling you is not a tall tale. It's actually true. So come back tomorrow for some more true stories on Tall Tales.